Next is the bipolar neuron. Bipolar neurons have two processes. One is the dendrite, and the other is the axon. Bipolar neurons are located in some sensory organs, such as in the retina of the eye and in the nasal cavity. The last type of neuron is the pseudo-unipolar neurons. These neurons have a single process extending from the cell body. These processes divide into two extensions at a short distance from the cell. One extends to the periphery and the other extends to the CNS. The two extensions function as a single axon with small dendrite-like sensory receptors at the periphery. The axon receives sensory information at the periphery and transmits that information in a form of action potential to the CNS. With the exception of the bipolar neurons described, most sensory neurons are pseudo-unipolar. Here is a table showing the differences of the three. So the multipolar neuron it has many dendrites and one axon. And as for the function, most motor neurons and most CNS neurons. Bipolar neuron description, one dendrite and one axon. Function is found in special sense organs such as eyes and nose. In the pseudo-unipolar neuron, it appears to have one single axon, and most sensory neurons. Next is the types of glial cells. Glial cells or neuroglia are the supportive cells of the CNS and PNS, meaning these cells do not conduct action potential. Instead, glial cells carry out different activities that enhance neuron function and maintain normal condition within the nervous tissue. The types of glial cells are different in the CNS versus the PNS. In the CNS, there are four types of glial cells. This includes the astrocytes, epidermal cells, microglia, and oligodendrocytes. The glial cells of the PNS, on the other hand, are the Schwann cells and the satellite cells. Astrocyte. The astrocyte serves as the major supporting cells in the CNS. In this role, astrocytes can stimulate or inhibit the signaling activity of nearby neurons. It also helps limit damage to neural tissue. However, the repair process can form a scar that blocks the regeneration of the damaged axon. Next is the ependymal cells. Ependymal cells lines the fluid-filled cavities within the CNS. Some ependymal cells produce cerebrospinal fluid, and others with cilia help move the cerebrospinal fluid through the CNS. Next, the microglia. Microglia act as an immune cells of the CNS. They help protect the brain by removing bacteria and cell debris. Then we have oligodendrocytes. Oligodendrocytes provide an insulating materials that surrounds axon, called the myelin sheath. Next are the satellite cells and the Schwann cells. In the PNS, the glial cells known as the Schwann cells has the same characteristics with the oligodendrocytes cell from the CNS, because it also provides insulating material around the axon called the myelin sheath. The satellite cells are found around the cell bodies that certain neurons of the PNS. These cells provide support and nutrition to the neurons and protect the neurons from heavy metal poisons such as lead and mercury. So here we have the table. You can see the differences of the six types of the glial cells. We have the description and the functions as well. So the astrocytes are highly branched, provide structural support, regulate neural signaling, contribute to blood-brain barrier, and help with neural tissue repair. For the epidermal cells, they are epithelial-like, line ventricles of the brain and central canal of the spinal cord. circulate cerebrospinal fluid or the CSF, and some form choroid plexus which produce CSF. Then the microglia, they are small mobile cell, protect the CNS from the infection, become phagocytic in response to inflammation also. And then the oligodendrocyte, cells with processes that can surround several axons. The cell processes form myelin sheath around the axons or enclosed unmyelinated axon in the CNS. Schwann cells, it's the same with the oligodendrocytes, it's just that this one is from the CNS. And then the satellite cells, single cells surrounding cell bodies, and they support neurons, provide nutrients, protect neurons from heavy metal poisons. So earlier we mentioned that there are two major divisions of the nervous system. These are the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. So let's define first the central nervous system. The central nervous system is the command center of the entire body. All the information gathered by the sensory receptors is delivered to the central nervous system in the form of nerve impulses. It processes the information and responds by sending nerve impulses to the motor nerves and peripheral nervous system. Then they interpret the information and issuing appropriate commands are the responsibility of the two parts of the central nervous system, which are the brain and the spinal cord. So we have here first the brain. The brain is the control center of the human body that functions as organizer and information for the body. It is contained in the cranial cavity of the skull. So the brain includes the cerebral cortex, limbic system, basal ganglia, thalamus, hypothalamus, and cerebellum. First, the cerebral cortex. It is the largest portion of the brain and it controls the sensory functions and also responsible for intelligence, personality, understanding of language, and other conscious activity including perception, emotion, thought, and then we have the lobes of the cerebrum. We have the frontal lobe, the parietal, the temporal, and occipital. Frontal lobe are located at the front of the brain. It contains olfactory bulb, also the processes of smell, and contains motor cortex or important for planning and implementing. Then we have the parietal lobe. It is located at the top of the brain. It has the somatosensation, which is the touch sensation like pressure, pain, heat, and cold. Then the proprioception, the sense of how parts of the body are oriented in place. It interprets language, words, sense of touch, pain and temperature, interprets signals from vision, hearing, motor, sensory, and memory. Then we have the occipital lobe. It is located at the back of the brain. It interprets vision, seeing or recognizing and identifying the visual world. Then the temporal lobe, located at the base of the brain by your ears and is primarily involved in the processing and interpreting sounds. It contains the hippocampus or the structure that processes memory formation. This is also the Wernicke's area or the understanding language sequence. Then we have the basal ganglia. It is interconnected brain areas. It also plays important roles in movement and control posture. Damage to the basal ganglia can lead to Parkinson's disease. Then the thalamus comes from a Greek word which means inner chamber, acts as a gateway to and from the cortex. It receives sensory and motor inputs from the body and